The following is a presentation of the ForceCenter Podcast feed.
Hello and welcome to ForceCenter Meets. I'm Joseph Scrimshaw.
I'm Jennifer Landa.
I'm Ken Napzok.
And this is a show that we are doing on both YouTube and for audio release on our podcast, the ForceCenter Podcast Network. And we do a thing where we like to meet somebody who is cool from the world of Star Wars or just from the world who loves Star Wars. And the person we're going to meet today is the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi, many other voices in Star Wars and voices in all sorts of other things. If you've ever heard a voice, it's possible that it has been his. It is James Arnold Taylor.
Well, thank you. What an introduction. And no pressure on me at all now to be cool.
No, you are cool as cool can be, my friend.
That's right. You are smooth. So we're going to get right into talking to James and hearing all of his thoughts on Star Wars and some of his cool stories. Again, cool being involved in Star Wars. But we also want to let you know about our little droid. We are recording this with our Mevo. That's what it's called, Ken?
It is the Mevo, so you can kind of see I'm moving it around. I'm controlling. So if it looks as though I'm checking my phone, I'm not ignoring you, James. I'm just controlling some shots because occasionally, like a good droid, it's sentient. It has its own way of thinking, and it will move around and focus on a glass of water.
Yes. I think at one point in our first episode of ForceCenter Meets, you're like, well, what do you think? And it went to somebody's knee.
My knee,
very thoughtful knee shot.
My knee was very animated.
Yes. So that's why I'm looking down a little bit here.
Yeah. So really big moving mouths.
People looking down at me.
No, not at all.
No,
Not
it's
at
a
all.
height thing. You see.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. Well, let's go back to the very beginning, which is your relationship personally with Star Wars as a fan. Like, it was real formative for you, right? What's your first memories?
Absolutely. Well, I'm an old man now. And I saw Star Wars when it first came out in '77 in a drive-in movie theater in San Jose, California.
Wow.
And it did change my life. It did. And from that point, and then I saw it, I'm from Santa Barbara, California. And we happened to be in San Jose at the time. And then, came home and watched it at this theater called the Arlington Theater, which if you ever go to Santa Barbara, it is the most gorgeous, like 2,200 seat theater that inside looks like an old Spanish village.
Oh,
and the ceiling is lit like stars and stuff.
I've been there.
Have you been there?
Oh, it's gorgeous.
So I grew up watching all of these fantastic movies at this theater.
Wow.
So I remember just watching it and dreaming and imagining that I would be involved in that in some way as a kid, playing. And then I would go home and play, and I was always Han Solo. Never thought I'd be old Ben Kenobi. Wow. Then fast forward to 2001. 2002, 2001, and we got this call from George Lucas about the micro series of the Clone Wars.
Oh, that's right.
Wow. Yeah, so you were the voice in the original
Yeah, I was
one.
Obi-Wan Kenobi in that. And so I auditioned. I thought it was going to be a trailer stuff because they were still making the movies at the time. And I thought, okay, they just need some pickup lines for Ewan McGregor because I had done some of his doubling in the past. And I thought, well, that's cool. And then my agent calls and goes, you got it. And I go, oh, so what am I doing? They said, no, it's a cartoon. I said, what? Like my two worlds collided, Star Wars and cartoons, and the rest is history. So I've been voicing Obi-Wan for almost 18 years now.
There's so many interesting things that you just said.
I've never heard the doubling of Ewan prior to all this.
Is that like for other movies? Is that his home voice answering machine? Like, when did you double?
I've doubled him for many things. Some trailers for Moulin Rouge and Robots, the movie Robots.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when he was doing an American accent, so when he does an American accent, it's kind of similar to my voice, but he places everything up here because he's trying to cover up his accent.
Yeah.
Right.
So the main character in the movie Robots, I was him, and then I was Robin Williams' double for that as well. But yeah, there was a few lines, and in Moulin Rouge, he wasn't doing his usual Obi-Wan thing.
Right.
He certainly wasn't doing his Scottish accent.
Yeah.
I filled in for him on that and a couple other movies, little things, and then some recent stuff, Christopher Robin.
You did?
Well.
I love that movie so much.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was actually Piglet's double as well. So
wow.
I did a bunch of lines as Piglet.
Well, the voice acting industry is so fun. You get to do so many things. so many different things.
Yes.
In fact, I voiced an old British woman in that movie as well. I don't know if it's in the film or not yet. I have to see it.
Man, I love that film, and now I'm going to pause on every line. It's like, which syllable is James?
Which one is
great.
James?
Well, if I do my job right, you don't know.
Right.
That's the
Right.
That's the trick.
Right.
So,
Now, do you have any relationship with Ewan McGregor? I mean, have you met him after all these years?
I mean,
I
he
know
drove
the way
me here today.
He's outside waiting.
But no, I don't. You know, we were on the red carpet together for the 35th anniversary of Empire,
Okay.
and it was so funny. There was a little kid there I was signing an autograph for, and you like Obi-Wan Kenobi? Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I voiced him in there. And the kid goes, "There's Ewan McGregor," and like everybody, you know, and I'm sitting there just like in a dust cloud going, oh, okay. So we were like right next to each other on the red carpet.
Yeah.
But we never got to
Interact.
or have introductions. I hung out the rest of the night with his stunt double, which was kind of funny. So I would say, you know, if you move, I can talk, and together we make one Ewan McGregor.
We're one of
But yeah, that was about it.
Great.
How do you even approach? You get this great news, you're Obi-Wan Kenobi, but then you've got to approach like this is an all-time classic character.
Yeah.
Something you've grown up loving.
Yeah.
And you got to get into the mindset of this character. Is that daunting at all?
It is, because also, you know, the first film had come out, Phantom Menace, and Attack of the Clones was just out. And he had already kind of made it. You know, it's like people always say, what do you love about the prequels? I always say Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
Because he's just so great in it. So he had already created now this persona of, oh, well, Obi-Wan was cool before he was Old Ben. But Old Ben was Alec Guinness, who was one of my, you know, heroes as a kid of this wonderful actor. But he was Gandalf before Gandalf, too, you know? So, I mean, I'm a Lord of the Rings fan and stuff, and it was like, there was so many levels there, and now it's just like, hi, it's me doing. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. So you know, and I've said this many times before, but I try to take a little Ewan McGregor, and I try to take some old Alec Guinness, and I combine them in my own Obi-Wan Kenobi. So.
Yeah, and it really has become a voice of
People are used to now,
for
which is
generations
great.
of people who grew up with the Clone Wars. You are not the voice of Obi-Wan from the Clone Wars. You are just their Obi-Wan.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah.
It's a strange thing.
Did you ever imagine how much your performance, but not just your performance, but you, the actor, would resonate with so many fans and become a legend?
It is a weird thing.
Yeah.
You know, I've been very fortunate to host like Star Wars weekends for many years and Star Wars Celebration, and I know all these people in the world of Star Wars now, and they just know me as, oh, that's James. He plays Obi-Wan Kenobi. And you just go, what? What is going on? Right. I really am just humbled by it all. And I think sometimes, you know, we can come off kind of like going like, you know, I'll remind people, say, well, you know, I've played him in over 100 episodes and on countless video games and toys and a movie. And so, because people still go, but Ewan McGregor's a real Obi-Wan. And you go, oh.
Oh, no.
So I don't try to say it to be like, you know, hey, I'm important too. I'm just humbled by it. I'm really blown away by it. I was up at George Lucas's ranch last week with Catherine Tabor and Ashley Eckstein, and we were watching episodes of Clone Wars. And then they did a Q&A with George and Dave Filoni, our director. And
Was this just on a lunch break or?
Amazing.
it was
It's
a
just
really
as
kind
for
of incredible.
employees only.
Yeah, it was for the crew, the cast and crew of Clone Wars.
Great.
And it was just one of those moments where you just kind of sit there and you see this impact. And then you have people that are animating on it and writing on it coming up and going, oh my gosh, you know, it meant so much to me what you've done. And you just go, really? That's great.
Yeah.
It's a dream come true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For that original series that came out before Revenge of the Sith, how involved was George Lucas? Because you and I have talked a lot about your actual relationship with George and talking to him.
Yeah.
Was he around for that first version of Clone Wars?
Not that we saw. No, he was, I think he was very hands-on with it, but we did everything here, actually in Burbank.
Oh, wow.
Just down the street at Cartoon Network. And I always joked it would take me longer to park my car than it would to voice the lines in the show. Because it was like, you know, I'm on my way. Wait a minute. Was that Anakin? That was Anakin. Anakin. And then you're done.
It sounds like Obi-Wan commenting on Anakin parallel parking before he gets into the studio.
See.
Back. Father. No, to the right. Very good.
Oh my god.
It's the Krusty the Clown bit there. Yeah, that's how you got it. Yeah.
And then I'm out.
Yeah. What about?
But he, so I did have a moment with him last week, though, at Big Rock Ranch. So there's Skywalker Ranch, and then up the street is Big Rock Ranch, and that's where they produced the Clone Wars. That's where they would make everything. And
Okay.
Dave Filoni and the crew were all there. And it's this gorgeous, I mean, just amazing place in the middle of nowhere. And there's cattle walking, and it's just
Wow.
live
Oh my
animals everywhere, because they have a working farm. They grow their own vegetables, they do all this stuff.
Wow.
And this building is this amazing Frank Lloyd Wright type,
Yeah.
Asian kind of looking in its architecture, and there's a statue of Yoda there, and all of this. And you're walking through there, and he has the world's largest collection of movie posters.
Oh, wow.
Classic movie posters from all the way back to the 20s and beyond to current day. And they had this wonderful art gallery up while we were there of Star Wars art.
Oh my goodness.
Paintings of Padme, posed as like a queen.
Oh, like an
and
actual
stuff.
her
Like,
royal portrait.
just
Oh,
like
gosh.
all these wonderful pieces of art, and we're walking through there just going, look at all of this. It's so amazing. So then George is talking with Dave at the end of the night. They do this Q&A for about an hour, and they're both really funny. They're just being, because it was kind of like, all the pressure's off now.
Yeah.
So they've made the show, and they're just joking around with each other. But George was talking about technology, and he was talking about Planet of the Apes and this last movies, and I really love those movies. And he was talking about how much he loved them, and it's like, because people were talking about technology, and he goes, well, technology's just allowed us to. You still need a great story, and you need great actors performing.
Right.
And he said, but look at that movie. We were able to believe that those apes were real, and I wanted to shout out, it's because of you.
Yes.
So afterwards, we're sitting there chatting with him, which is also very strange.
That's surreal.
And I said to him, I go, I'm sorry, but what you were saying, it's because of you. It's because of the technology you built. And you're the only one that's ever pushed that. So the reason we have all that we have right now in Hollywood is because you allowing people to push themselves more, having the budget to do it. And he didn't know how to take it, but I was nerding out on him. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and I go, and I'm not kissing up. I'm not kissing up. I'm just telling you, thank you for all you've created for our technology. And he's like, oh, thanks.
All right.
Turns back and looks at the cows outside. Yeah. That's amazing that George
What
Lucas
a
has not learned to
story.
take a compliment.
Yeah. No, he just was very, kind of shy about it.
Yeah, yeah.
just-
That's awesome.
He's a quiet college filmmaker who just wants to tell the stories,
He
right?
still
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
But also the beauty of it was he gets kind of, sassy, for lack of a better word. It's like people will go, no, you can't do that. I go, oh, really? Oh, we can't do that. Because,
Yeah.
with the Clone Wars, rather, he said, we weren't making a cartoon. We were making movies. And that's how he looked at it. So that's how he told Dave, you're making a movie. Every week you're making a movie. So he just goes, oh, you can't afford it? We can't? Well, I'll put the money up. I mean, that's how we did it.
Yeah,
Clone Wars,
right.
for 2 years we made it before it had a network.
Oh, really?
Incredible.
I'd heard that, it just seemed like it was a long time ago. This is something he wanted to do. He felt he had those stories sitting around.
Yeah.
And, in his brain, really
Yeah.
more than anything. So he's an independent filmmaker to this day.
He still is, even though he's one of the wealthiest independent filmmakers you'll ever find.
Right.
But it's because he's a great businessman, too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit. We were talking about your legacy with the fans. We saw your social media adventure where you married some people.
Right.
Tell us about the marrying.
So there was this couple in Salt Lake City, and they met watching Clone Wars. And they were watching, Chris is the young man, and then Jessie is the gal. She came over. She was a friend of his, and she's like, "What are you watching?" "Oh, I'm watching Clone Wars." "Oh, tell me about that." "And who's this character?" "Oh, that's the Duchess Satine." She's like, "Wow, I really like her. I'd like to cosplay as her sometime." And so they both were just friends, and they went cosplaying as Obi-Wan and the Duchess. And I met them a couple years ago at this con. They were not dating even at the time.
Oh.
But they liked each other, but they hadn't really told each other. So cut to now, they are now in love, and they're getting married, and they decide we need to have a Obatine wedding. So for all the fans of
Hashtag
Clone Wars
Obatine.
that, the Duchess, Satine, and Obi-Wan that wanted them to get together, they've called it Obatine. They've coined, I don't know
Obatine.
who coined
Hashtag
the phrase,
Obatine.
but
Okay.
hashtag Obatine.
That's great.
So, in fact, this last week was Obatine week. they have an official week.
How did we?
Wait,
how can we spend this much time talking about Star Wars and miss these days?
Yes.
It's not
Obi-Wan
fair.
week.
Yeah. So I put the video out of the wedding on Obi-Wan week in celebration of it, and all those Obi-Wan fans were thrilled, and they just loved that storyline of Obi-Wan having a love interest, and Obi-Wan possibly where that would have gone, how that could have gone, and then that she's this pacifist.
Yeah.
He's a great character, and Anna Graves, who plays the Duchess Satine, just does a fantastic job. Very kind of Kate Blanchett kind of feel to it, and regal, and there's these wonderful moments, and it's all from the mind of George Lucas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Were you just being James Arnold Taylor, or did you do some Obi-Wan or other voices?
I spoke as Obi-Wan the whole time. So we had Henry Gilroy, who is a writer for Clone Wars. He was actually one of the main writers of it, wrote a ceremony for us, a Mandalorian ceremony.
Oh my gosh.
And so we came, and I had the Jedi Path book.
Yes.
Yeah.
And inside that I had Henry's notes of the ceremony. And so Anna and I would switch off reading lines, and we gave it an official, if Obi-Wan were to be married to the Duchess Satine, this is what the ceremony would
This
have
is
been.
what it would
Oh,
be.
wow.
that's so beautiful.
It's like almost canon.
Yes. Yes.
Did Henry Gilroy write it in sort of like a Star Wars style, so it
Yeah.
sounded like it was from a wedding from a galaxy far, far away?
Talk amongst yourselves. I can find it, I guess.
I mean,
That was incredible.
I'm fascinated with the angle that, that Obi-Wan, James Arnold Taylor, is aware that these two fans like each other, but they weren't dating yet. Like,
So Obi-Wan that you saw that they were in love before they did it. Like,
right.
did they like whisper to you at the convention, like, I kind of like Duchess Satine?
No, so on their social media, we started following them and finding that they fell in love. And then their friends kept like sending us things on social media. Hey, they're getting married. It'd be nice if somebody officiated it. So Anna and I decided to surprise them.
That's great.
So we did. We surprised them with that and called them up and told them that we were going to do the official
Do the
marriage.
wedding.
So let's see. It's the Jedi Masters of old tell us there is no light side and no dark side. There is only the Force. How one would use it through the actions of their heart determines its nature. Similarly, the ancient protectors of Mandalore chose not good nor evil, but bound themselves to their warriors' code of honor and loyalty in the name of their clans and each other. And it goes on from there. So.
wow.
Incredible.
Now, Jennifer, you have actually had a Star Wars wedding. You have, I think, arguably one of the world's most famous Star Wars wedding. Because if you Google Star Wars wedding, you pop up real quick.
Yes, yes. But we infused it in more subtle ways. That is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
what a treat.
Weren't you walked down the aisle by stormtroopers?
I did. Well,
Okay, so when
yes,
you
they were
say
flanked by
infuse
my
it
side.
subtly,
Were you?
We did have troopers.
Were you dressed as?
No, I did have a
Princess
Leia
Leia?
Flower Girls.
Okay.
So that was
Yeah,
there.
wasn't
But-
like there was a cake topper. Stormtroopers were there, right?
Yeah, stormtroopers were there. Yes.
This
is true.
This
is
true. So, but
Yeah.
that's fascinating, and the fact that you and Anna would take the time to do that shows it's number one. Hey, you love what you do, but just you also respect the Star Wars community at large.
It is a beautiful community of fans. Everybody is so giving and so happy to interact with us. We were kind of the first group to allow that. Social media was really kind of, breaking in that sense.
True.
Back, the show came out 10 years ago. And that's when social media was really kind of hitting its prime. So people could look up who James Arnold Taylor is and follow him. And then I would respond to them.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we became a cast that interacted with the fans, and then celebrations and fan days and Star Wars weekends. It just gave so many options for people to find us.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. And I have to ask: is the Obi-Wan relationship, is that your favorite arc, or do you have a different favorite arc as both the character and as a fan?
Man, that's a great question because it really kind of is my favorite arc. I loved what they did with it in like season 2 with the Duchess of Mandalore episodes and such, and then I love, spoiler alert, where they took it by the end,
Right.
by season 5 and what they did, and it was so tragic with the Duchess Satine. So and it gave me so many wonderful opportunities to act in a way that we never really got to see Obi-Wan act before either.
Right.
Yeah,
So that was the beautiful thing about Clone Wars was I got to do a lot of things that Ewan McGregor never got to do or that Alec
Right.
Guinness never got to do and fill in a lot of spaces that we wondered about.
It's my favorite arc for Obi-Wan in that series because it adds this layer that you just didn't think existed. He's an old wizard in the desert when we meet him for a lot, and this forbidden love, attachment is forbid, as Anakin would tell us. It just was the most realistic look at this is what it would be like.
Yeah, and Darth Maul, I mean, again, for everybody that's watching that knows the storyline, Darth Maul is like always so angry at Kenobi, like he needs revenge on Kenobi. So Maul kills off Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan's master. Then he kills off his possible love. And yet he's still alive. So what's he so angry about?
Right.
He's winning. I mean, he kind of wins throughout.
Yeah.
Well, your performance is great in the sense you've gone into spoiler territory, which is just fine. When Maul expects Obi-Wan to break after taking Satine, like that is I think about that moment a lot because I think we can tend to see heroes as like they have powers, so they get challenged, but they win. And that's such a wonderful moment of they're heroes because it would be easy to break. It would be easy to give in to
and he
vengeance.
doesn't.
And to have him your performance there is so wonderful where he sort of yells, so he's sort of breaking a little bit. And it's like, of course I'm not going to break and try to kill you. Yeah. I'm a Jedi. That's the whole point. Why don't you listen?
So I'm on this
It's
team.
so great.
It is one of those things for me, you talk about like being this character. In my eyes, he's always been this character that is the truest sense of a Jedi. I mean, Yoda's the master.
Right.
But Obi-Wan is the one that is like the one true believer. He never breaks that. Even with Anakin, I mean, he spares his life, but he assumes he's dead, But Dave Filoni has another. I think Dave is like, he should have finished the job, and it's like, well,
There's a lot of people about that.
I know, but it's like,
Wow.
he's a true believer.
Filoni, his team should have finished him, huh? That is fascinating.
Yeah, but I do like getting in that side of Kenobi's head on that moment on Mustafar. Like, that tracks, as Joseph says a lot. That's that connects the emotional canon of that line of Obi-Wan's brain. Yeah,
Put
he
yourself
wouldn't
in
want
that
to do
position. He meets him as a little boy.
Yeah.
He raises him. He trains him up as a father and a brother. And then they battle for 75 hours? I think almost.
Yeah.
And then he leaves him there. Yeah, it's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, close enough.
Finish it? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a fascinating. We could talk about that for hours.
Yeah.
But I do want to bring up that Clone Wars is coming back. What was that like to find out about?
It's very strange because, I've known since February.
Okay.
We were actually in the studio doing some voices for the movie Solo. And I was hanging out with Matt Wood and Tom Kane. And, of course, Tom Kane is Yoda. Matt Wood is the genius sound designer, Oscar-nominated sound designer of Star Wars films and others. And he's also the voice of General Grievous and
That's right.
the battle droids, Roger, all of those. And Matt brought us in because he's been kind enough to bring me in to do voices for all of the last Disney Star Wars films, every Star Wars film that Disney's made.
Awesome.
I've had a voice in there.
That's great.
And so he goes, there's these rumors kicking around that they're going to bring Clone Wars back. I'm like, really? It's like, yeah, it's just rumors though, And so then we go away, and then a couple days later we come back to the studio to do some more voices for it. And he goes, did you get the call? I go, yeah, I got the call. And they called and said, sure enough, but keep it under your hat, So we had to wait till July to where we could talk about it. So it was a long time.
Wow.
That's a long time.
That's tough.
Although, in comparison, we did Clone Wars for 2 years before we
true.
could talk about it before that. So
That's true.
Oh my
it was a
goodness.
cakewalk.
But I'm sure you probably get asked a lot.
Oh, yeah.
It comes
that
up.
That was the worst. I would be at cons. I was in London. I was doing a convention, and I was performing my stage show that I do. And all these fans are going like, yeah, it's such a drag about Clone Wars. I wish Disney would bring it back. And I'm sitting there going, I know. I know. And I hate that because I hate lying or just holding things back from people. So,
Speaking of that, so Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to be coming to the video game Battlefront 2, which
That's what I've heard,
play
actually.
obsessively. It's with a Clone Wars package. You
Yeah.
are Clone Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi. Did you want to lie or misdirect us in any way, or confirm or deny, or tell me to shut up? Anything is fine.
Oh, well, the thing about it, Joseph, is that just need to move my hand. I understand that a lot of people have been asking about whether Obi-Wan will be in this game or not.
Yeah.
He is in the game. I can confirm that Obi-Wan
Excellent.
Kenobi is in the game.
Great. That's good to know. We got it all figured out then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm ready for young Obi-Wan or whoever. I want to play as Obi-Wan.
Absolutely. I want an extra button to make
I
him
will
do his
agree with
pose.
that.
With that.
Yeah.
I just want to take Obi-Wan into a bar and have a drink because
my
that
gosh.
seems to be on Obi-Wan's mind a lot too.
Just hit that X
Have a
button
little
for a
blue
drink.
milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say this. I am very excited about the fact that Obi-Wan Kenobi is in Battlefront 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Awesome.
Okay.
Good. That is great. I can't wait to play even more.
Yeah.
You mentioned solo. We're all big
Yeah.
solo fans
Yes.
here.
Yes.
Ken, Jennifer, you have any questions
4K copy sitting over there. Yeah,
about the solo experience?
Yeah.
just the voices. Yeah.
What was that like?
It's very strange when you voice any of these movies because as a fan, you walk in that day knowing I'm going to see a bunch of things before people get to see it.
Right.
Right.
A long time before. And I'm not going to really get to see it in the same way everybody else gets to. So as a fan, you're kind of bummed.
Oh, wow.
But as
Yeah.
a fan, you're also kind of thrilled because you get to see it beforehand and you get to participate in it and you get your name in the credits. So watching that day, we did a couple days on that, and getting to just see it. Most of the stuff you see too it's not finished yet.
Okay.
So, but I had the same thing with Revenge of the Sith. We had that with the the scene on Mustafar. I watched all of that the first time. I think 6 months before it came out. Where it's
wow.
blue screen, and Obi-Wan saying, "You are my brother, Anakin," and they're saying, "Can you match that performance?" So in this, it's kind of the same thing where you see that thing that comes up out of the water that reminded me of the Geonosian Queen there. Really.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it did.
Lady Proxima. Yeah. Totally.
And you see all the puppeteers, moving
Oh,
around
yeah.
Right.
and everything. And I'm like, boy, I can't wait to see this in the theater.
Can you voice those puppeteers? We're going to edit them out, but we just want to know if you could match that.
Yeah.
But I got the way it works is they'll have a big group of us in the room, and we'll watch. So all the big scenes, when Han is walking through and he's trying to sneak off the planet and everything,
Yeah.
and go through all those voices in the back, and he grabs the kid's hat and everything. We're just doing voices, so we're watching, and you pick out people and you do the voice and you talk.
Oh, that's fascinating.
And then if it's an alien, then you speak gibberish.
Okay.
And so we will there'll be these microphones, these wonderful surround sound microphones, and you just walk around the room. So we'll be in a circle. We'll start over here and we'll walk past the mics,
wow.
and you'll have a conversation, and you're, we did like nervous travelers. We're waiting. You just act normal. It'll be fine. And you
great.
listen. You'll hear all that little banter going on.
That's
awesome.
amazing.
So that's
It's
like a lot of those scenes. And then the other will be very specific. Force Awakens, for example, a good example is when Finn is looking for water.
Yeah.
He's thirsty and and he wants water. And those aliens come up and they go, that was me and a couple other people. And so you get to do those things. Matt Lanter and I were stormtroopers in that, with Sam Witwer, of course, and David Collins. But in Solo specifically, I also got to double Clint Howard.
Oh,
really nice.
So
Ralakili, right?
Yeah, Ralakili.
Yeah. So when he gets grabbed in the face and being held there, that's actually my voice.
Really?
So he comes out of the thing and, well, let me, and then, all that. So that's all me.
Oh my gosh.
I kind of want to stop and just watch that right
I
now.
know.
Yeah.
Let's watch it.
Yeah.
And then there's a big bald guy in the background that's kind of taking bets and stuff from everybody in that same scene.
Yep.
And he's got this big kind of voice there, and it's all right, 5 over there, 10 over there. Okay, give me that. No, you can't bet here. Your money's not good. Get out of here.
This guy, so that was me. And just other incidentals.
awesome.
Yeah, I never
so
know exactly what
fascinating.
they'll end up
Pick
using.
up.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And now when you go in, you just see the scene you're voicing, right? It's not like they even show you like the whole.
Oh, I thought-
We see quite a bit.
You do.
Now, why do they? Is it a courtesy to we know you're fans, so we're going to show you the whole rough movie in order, so you've seen it,
No,
or
and
why do you see more than what you're voicing?
Well, because for one, it's a room of ADR people, so there may be scenes where there's female characters voicing stuff, and then you're sitting back. So pretty much all day you go through the whole film.
Wow.
Wherever there are things, there are some key parts that get left out, like with Last Jedi. Most of Mark's stuff we didn't see because there was no need for any other voices in that. Although in the cave with Rey.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That chanting that's underneath,
Right.
that's all of us. And we had the composer of the film actually in there with us and composing.
Really?
'Cause what was it we were saying? There is no light, there is no dark, there is only force. And we were and it was kind of wild because, you've got like 15 guys, me and Sam Witwer and Tom Kane and David Collins, all these kind of wonderful, and Fred Tatasciore, all these great voice actors chanting this over one microphone, kind of all together doing this.
Wow.
That's magical.
And then they would get all the girls, and all the girls would then chant it, and then he would overlap it, and it was really kind of neat. So you do end up seeing most of the film.
Yeah. Now,
And-
in that
yeah.
scene, there is a voice that people have picked out in specific theaters of it. It sounds like a woman's voice saying Rey, and if you're in surround sound, it comes from behind you.
Right.
Were you in the room when that happened? Because the internet will murder me if I don't ask where you're at.
I don't recall that. So
Yeah.
that could have, if
It doesn't stand out. I've seen the movie a lot, but it was like the 10th viewing when I was like, oh, there's something
Right.
else going on. Yeah.
now, in the Force Awakens, when she has her dream, when she touches
Yes.
the saber, I was originally the voice of Obi-Wan in that.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, and then got replaced by this other guy. I guess because it was Matt Wood's idea to put
Right.
Obi-Wan in there. And so I said, Rey. I said it as Alec, I said it as Ewan, I said it as me. And then
Rey.
the other lines, yeah. And he was like, say whatever you want, And J.J. Abrams liked it so much, he went, great, let's get Ewan McGregor now to come in and do it. And then they combined some of Alec Guinness. But so it did actually technically take all three Obi-Wans.
Did you ever record a line where you said, Rey, I am your grandfather?
I did not.
Okay. Put that fan theory to bed.
Okay.
I know.
Right
go.
there.
I like that theory, though, actually.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's
I've never talked about that anywhere either.
As
Yeah.
we do on Force Center, we speculate responsibly. Let's dive
Yeah.
into that idea.
Yeah.
The idea of the Kenobi family line going on in any way?
I think it's kind of neat because I do also believe that Rey is kind of a true believer, isn't she? Mm-hmm. She's the real deal. So it would make sense to me. But it also, kind of in the last ones, kind of looks like she could be Han and Leia's kid too, right?
Right.
And it could be her brother there, but that almost seems too on the nose. But I like the thought of Obi-Wan and the Duchess maybe having something that happened at some point. And
Yeah.
then, we follow the line. But I think it would be neat.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan and Satine sitting in a tree,
I think, man,
breaking Jedi codes.
Yes.
that's right. I mean, you got podcasts, you got videos. That is an amazing video. As Obi-Wan, if you break down true believers, here's what happened. When a Jedi loves a woman very much, or loves a Duchess very much.
Now, I actually, and I haven't talked about this anywhere either, but I've been kind of, I would need to get approval, and they'll probably never approve it. But what I would love to do and take to cons and such is a one-man Obi-Wan show where I just basically sit and I age throughout it progressively, and I tell the story of Star Wars from Phantom Menace to
Take my money now.
Yeah.
where it's just like a 90-minute one-man show where he's just sitting by the fire out there on Tatooine. Hello there.
Yeah.
Let
so
me tell you a
great.
story.
That's a great way to expand into other markets, other ways to
Yeah.
experience the story where it's not like I would usually go, my knee jerk would be like, hey, here's some Obi-Wan comedy, but that's really profound since he is the storyteller, the observer, the guy who tries to see things from lots of different perspectives. That could be a really moving night of here's where
Just
I was
theater,
coming from
yeah.
when I was young with Qui-Gon, but here's what I didn't realize at the
And
time.
images going on, video
Oh,
images,
wow.
and
I
music
love
and
it.
sound.
Yeah.
So I've been kicking that around, and I would love to do it, but I know that they'd be like, no, you can't do that.
But taking Star Wars to Broadway finally.
I
This
know.
would be the
Well, you know,
chance.
So
Yeah.
this was Ashley Eckstein and I. Of course, Ashley plays Ahsoka Tano. Our idea years ago was when the Duchess Satine story came out that they ought to do a Broadway show of Obi-Wan and Satine, the love story from back when they were young.
Yes.
with songs,
A
right?
musical, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Oh boy.
See? Yeah.
I love this one-man show idea. I mean, you've done so many of them. I've
Yeah.
watched them on YouTube too. I love you sliding in and out of your voices so easily there. That would make it would be beautiful. It'd be
Yeah.
poetic and beautiful and
I
sweet.
feel like it'd be a neat thing. And again, I've never talked about it anywhere, so
Yeah.
I've broken it here.
Okay.
So now if people want it,
yes.
they can
News breaks right here.
Yes.
James Arnold Taylor demands.
demands a one-man Obi-Wan show.
Weird German Star Wars
yeah.
website. Confirmed.
Yeah, and you know what's going to happen then next week? Ewan McGregor agrees to do off-Broadway production of Ben.
Well, you heard it here first.
Well,
Heard it here
maybe an accident happens. You know, I didn't say that. I didn't
Well,
say
if
that.
he did it, I'd be
No.
okay with that.
No. Now, along those lines, like, that's a really cool fantasy project. Maybe it could happen someday. From all of your adventures in Star Wars, do you have that little bit of hope? Like that is a theme in Star Wars, and it honestly seems like that in your career. Like Clone Wars,
Yeah.
it's gone. Disney has no interest. Disney shuts it down. But what do you know? It's back. Kind of amazing, hopeful things do keep happening in Star Wars.
Yeah,
Does
they
it
do.
does it give you a sense of hope that?
Absolutely. You know, I'm a hopeful person anyways. I'm a person of faith and such, and so I always kind of carry that hope with me. And I just love the idea that you can do anything through that hope. And I think it also is what carries so many Star Wars fans that have become writers and artists, podcasters, storytellers. So many people that I come in contact with on a daily basis started as Star Wars fans and now have a career
Yeah.
doing what we all do
Right.
because of the hope that Star Wars brought to them. So
Yeah.
it's really kind of fascinating.
Yep.
I totally agree with you. I mean, and it goes back to George.
Yeah.
George with a pad of paper and a pencil in 1973 going, I can't make Flash Gordon. No, make that.
Yeah.
And it's that Star Wars, like the same football, the coaching tree of a head coach and all the people he gave careers to. The creativity that Star Wars inspired across so many engineers, scientists,
Yeah. Oh my
all
gosh.
that stuff.
It's fascinating.
Hope is big.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what makes me believe in Ben, the
Yeah.
one-person show.
The musical.
I have hope for
the
and the
musical.
musical for sure. At least one song at the end, an
Just
old
one.
traditional Jedi song, lost to
Now
the
I'd like to
ages.
sing a song for you.
So, I mean,
Yeah, if you could sing a song as Obi-Wan, we gotta have. Do you have an Obi-Wan singing voice?
No. So I was asked to, because of Star Wars Day at Dodger Stadium, I sung the national anthem and God Bless America.
As Obi-Wan?
Oh,
No, they wouldn't let me do it
as
as
Plo
Obi-Wan.
Kloon?
As Plo Kloon, that's right. I sung it in just my regular voice, but it was because of that. And I wanted to do a version of Obi-Wan kind of singing it
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I could be
with
on
Star Wars sound effects. So I built it out for them and I pitched it to them and they said, yeah, we're not doing that. But what I got to do later the next year at Star Wars Weekends was perform it. So I think it's online somewhere.
Okay.
You can actually
Oh
see
Can you
my
give it just a
gosh.
little taste of
It was,
the beginning of the song as Obi-Wan?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming Anakin.
And so, yeah, it was
That's
I
awesome.
need an Obi-Wan album.
Yeah,
That's what I need.
absolutely.
like that Shatner album where
Yes.
he's speaking
Lucy
everything.
in the sky.
Yeah.
It does.
Songs to Jedi by. Yeah, that's so great. Ken, Jennifer,
Yeah.
do you have any other questions before? We always like to end ForceCenter Meets with some fun, weird questions.
Yeah.
But before we get to those,
Lay
do
it
you have
on
any other big picture questions?
Well, you know what? I a little bit outside of Star Wars too. You've had a great, wonderful career, and your JAT 365s. I used to watch every day.
Oh,
By the way,
thank you.
You're
Thank you
a
so
very
much.
insightful guy and everything too. And in this age, and you've done a lot of things with Star Wars shows, trying to build your sets. We talked about off air. You build your fancy sets. You just need an IKEA couch.
That's really it.
and a
And a
Mevo.
Mevo,
What else do you focus on too in your career?
Thank you
what
for
do you-
asking. I do have my YouTube channel and I do my JAT drives and stuff where I
Right.
just talk about voiceover and talk about life. I try to see myself as an ambassador of inspiration. I'm really the luckiest guy in the world. You know, at 4 years old, I wanted to do voiceover, and I have had this life where I've got to actually do all of that, and through, I think, kind of positive imaging, thinking positive, and knowing that what I wanted to do, I've accomplished a lot of things in life. So I really love the idea of spreading that out to people and showing people that, yeah, whatever you image and come up with in your head, if it's a good thing, you can do it. So my channel, and then I'm starting a podcast, and the podcast is called Talking to Myself, like my stage show. I have a stage show called Talking to Myself that I've done all over the world. Whoops. And And the podcast is that. And so basically it's me talking to me. So all the characters on the show are me.
Oh,
okay.
that's great.
And it's kind of like Phil Hendry, if you know Phil
Oh,
Hendry.
absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's kind of in that vein.
Bobby Dooley going to come on the show?
Yeah. And so, and then I do have little segments where I interview friends and stuff, Frank Oz and Mark Hamill. Like I play clips from things like that. But it's really to kind of show people that they can pursue their dreams and they can achieve whatever they want to in life if they really set their mind to it. It's that old, Marty, if you set your mind to it. Yeah. I'm just the luckiest guy in the world to do what I do. So so people can follow me on JamesArnoldTaylor.com and then Jat Actor on social media and stuff, and they can be inspired daily, and they can ask me questions there, and I say prayers for them, and I hope for the best for everybody.
Yeah.
I've started doing this this motivation series. It's bad motivations, and someone was like, "Well, James Arnold Taylor, he did that with you." I was like, "No, he was helping people. I'm just in a bathrobe drinking."
He did. I love motivations.
I love it.
So we're obsessed with the Star Wars side of your career for sure. But
thanks, Al.
nice to know you're a well-rounded gentleman as well.
I try to be.
Yeah, we've done a ton of other voices and other work, right?
Johnny Test was a big cartoon. Johnny Test is 11 years old and totally awesome.
Fred Flintstone. Yabba-dabba-doo.
Nobody would ever guess. Fred Flintstone. I've been Spider-Man. I'm the voice of Lego Flash, which is my favorite DC character of all time.
Awesome.
Flash. I've been Green Arrow, Green Lantern, Magneto, which is
Magneto, pathetic humans, Magneto, will destroy you.
I feel like I'm in my pajamas when I hear that voice. It's such a Saturday morning cartoon voice.
Right.
Pretty cool.
And the thing that you do, I remember, I didn't know, and I think we were having kind of a general meeting at Screen Junkies one day with my old friend Jack Hergoth, and you mentioned that you were the voice of Fox Television, right?
I am.
And I was like, that blew my mind because that's been for a long time.
For 18 years now, whenever you watch The Simpsons or Family Guy and you hear that,
The Simpsons coming up next on Fox. Stay tuned for another episode of Family Guy. Bob's Burgers, all new.
Wow.
And the moment he said, now I can't unhear you. But it was so,
Yeah, that one is one of my favorite jobs, actually. I love that. It's so fun. I do most of that from my home studio.
Nice.
And they dial me up, and thanks to technology, I do it, and then it goes on the air later that night. And
So there's a massive treasure trove of you introducing, queuing up shows that have now long been canceled, right? So there could be like a
Napoleon Dynamite, all new.
Oh my goodness.
Border Town, all new on Fox.
There's so many of those cartoons that just never went, and then other shows.
Did you stretch back to Herman's Head?
Yeah.
Did you go that far?
No, what was the other one? Bean Vision. Bean Vision. It was Bean. Yeah, that show. Bean. I can't remember the kid's first name, but that Fast Lane was a show. On
Okay.
Yes.
And I did.
Yes.
It's an all new Fast Lane on Fox.
That 70s show you tuned into an all new That 70s Show. All right. It was like a kind of stoner guy. Cedric the Entertainer.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's an all new Cedric the Entertainer.
And Bernie Mac. All those shows.
Wow.
And I think one of we were talking about I mentioned it, but one of our favorite voices in Star Wars is Plo Kloon.
Oh, me too.
How did that come about?
Yeah.
Filoni say, "I'd like you to talk," or it's like, how did that come about?
Plo Kloon is one of those great characters because, again, you see him in all the movies and you kind of wonder, well, what's he sound like? What's his story? What's his deal? And Dave Filoni loves that character. It's his favorite character. So one day he said, James, we're thinking of this, bringing a voice into that, and Gandalf. So that's all he said to me.
Oh, wow.
So I just gave it Ian McKellen. So Plo Kloon untreated is this.
Right.
So when I go in and do Plo Kloon, it's Ahsoka, Kotoya, Ahsoka Tano. May the Force be with you.
Wow.
And so then Matthew Wood takes it.
He pitches it down a little, and then they put this kind of effect on it.
What they call the Plo effect. And the first season, I did it
Very much in this, kind of Gandalf kind of thing.
And then I watched the first season and heard it back. Well, because I'm such a mimic of everything.
I heard it pitched down here. So when I got in the studio for the second season, I started doing them down here.
And then Matt goes, "You're killing me, James. What are you doing? Now I've got to pitch it up and
Up and to the side.
yeah." So
Did you meet in the middle on Plo
we
Kloon
did,
at some
yeah.
time?
So I stopped going down as low and let him go back to that.
It'd have been great if it just kept pitching it down. So, like, by the final season of Clone Wars, Plo Kloon was just like...
He's Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
That's
my
great.
gosh.
Jennifer, any general questions for James before we move on to our final questions?
Well, yeah, it's kind of my final and my general question. For somebody who wants to get into voice acting,
Yeah.
what advice do you have? And then also, what tips do you have for your vocal instrument? Because it truly is an instrument.
That's a great question. That's an important question if you want to get into voice acting, because I think a lot of people kind of just figure, oh, I do some voices and all. There's tons of resources now. The great thing. D. Bradley Baker, who's the voice of all the clones in the Clone Wars, as well as that Geonosian Queen we're talking about, and Bosk and all these characters. He was asked this question so many times, he created a website called iwannabeavoiceactor.com. So it's just iwannabeavoiceactor.com, and he answers so many questions there. That's why I created my YouTube channel too. I have a playlist in there called In the Booth, where I just take you inside my booth and you can watch. Because for me, when I was 16 years old, I went to the local radio station and said, "How do you get into radio?" Because I'd been doing stand-up comedy. I started as a stand-up.
Cool.
And I learned by watching. So I feel like even though there's all these wonderful things you can do to learn about voice acting, the best thing is to watch. So if you can watch somebody in a booth a lot and see how they operate and how they do all of that, you're going to pick up a lot more than just, even taking a class, I think, sometimes. Because in a class, you're then left to kind of figure it out, and you can go astray sometimes unless the teacher's really kind of bringing you back to center. And there's so many different classes and so many different schools of thought. So I like learning by example. So watch as much as you can. Take in as much as you can. There's a wonderful book by Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt, his wife. They did called Voiceover, Voice Actor. And that is a great resource. And they just did a new version of it. And they actually I wrote a little story in it and all too. So go ahead and get it. But it really is helpful. Steve Bloom, of course, was on Rebels. And Steve has a website and a whole school, an online school for learning voice acting. So I really feel like if you study and learn and know as much as you can about voice acting that way, and there's so many resources now too, thanks to the internets and all the interwebs. So study and know, but take care of your voice. I lost my voice years ago to black toxic mold. Long story. And
That's part 2 of the interview.
Yes.
Wow.
And woke up one morning and couldn't talk. And the doctors were basically saying, yeah, you probably have done some permanent damage to your vocal cords and stuff. And through a lot of, again, positive imaging, a lot of faith, a lot of prayer, and a lot of discovery, I figured out how to get my voice back, and now it's stronger than ever. But
the moment the doctor's like, "What do you do for a living?"
Yeah,
we might have a problem.
I'm a voice actor. I speak for a living.
Yeah.
You're a
I
mime
knew
now.
it was. So I went to my specialist, and this guy had looked. He's like in Beverly Hills. He was like Frank Sinatra and Whitney Houston and the Three Tenors and all these wonderful singers. Throat doctor, and a lot of us voice actors would go to him, and he looked in my throat and he went, "Yuck." And he went, "Ooh, I bet that hurts." I'm like, "Yeah." So I learned to take care of my voice in a way that a lot of people maybe don't. So on my channel and stuff too, there's videos about how I warm up my voice in the morning, and I treat it like an instrument. Your vocal cords are muscles, and so they move and work out like any other muscles. So if you work them out every day, they will get stronger, and if they get stronger, they are able to handle so many more things.
Right.
So take care of your voice. I don't drink. I don't eat anything. No, I just
black toxic
room
mold that
temperature
one time.
water.
That one time.
It
No,
looked
but
so tasty.
You have to take care of your voice and stuff,
Yes.
but some people don't. Some people's voices are that thing too. That's kind of their thing. But for somebody that wants to do voices, learn techniques, learn singing techniques, learn theater techniques, because it will help you sustain your voice.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we'll move on to our final questions. Ken, do you have a fun, weird final question?
Yeah. Fun, weird final question there. I want to know your favorite Clone Wars voice that's something we wouldn't really know that you did. That's tiny, one-off background, but you love the character.
Well, I'll say my favorite that isn't me in that is Matt Lanter as the Muck monkey. Because Matt is like this, hunky, leading man.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's a nerd like all of us.
That's
and
awesome.
he does these wonderful little voices and stuff. So that was one of my favorites, seeing him, walking around going, yeah. I did so many different characters. So generally speaking, you would do an episode, you do your one. So if Obi-Wan and Plo were in the episode, Obi-Wan would be talking, and then Plo Kloon would come on and say something. And when you hear that's how I would track it. I would just go one-to-one. And we did an episode, we did a couple episodes called The Citadel. And
Yep.
Oh,
with
yes,
the whole
yes.
story arc. And O.C. Sobek, he's not an obscure character, but he was my favorite to do. Because O.C. Sobek, I get a call from Dave Filoni. He says, we're messing around with a character. What would Christopher Walken sound like as an alien?
Wow.
And he says, so throw some stuff down. I'll send you the script.
So I took, you start with Christopher Walken and you wonder what would he sound like if he was, a little bigger, crazy, big alien.
And so I gave them several versions of it. I gave them,
The straight ahead Chris Walken, and then I went a little bigger and I did the whole,
because I'm a voice double. So I've doubled Walken and other people, and you have to sound like them.
Yeah.
You have to sound like what they would sound like talking to you on the phone.
Not like an impression
Not an
from
impression,
a comedian
right.
who's going to
Right.
exaggerate something.
So I gave them that, and then I gave them the more of the impression one. Everything's crazy, And then I combined it with a little Al Pacino.
Oh.
So you take a little Al Pacino, a little Chris Walken, and you get O.C. Sobek.
Your Jedi resolve won't last with me, And so it was this combining.
That's
So I
awesome.
loved that character.
That's
Yeah.
great.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
That's asked and answered. And I
Yeah,
appreciate
asked and
that one.
answered.
Oh my gosh. I would love to know, because I've seen you at Celebration, what has been your craziest fan interaction? And it can be crazy positive or it can be crazy.
Man, I know there's a great answer to that. I will answer, for me as a fan, the craziest times I had were with Carrie Fisher.
Oh.
I was spanked on stage by Carrie Fisher in front of 3,000 plus people. The last time I interviewed her was at Celebration Anaheim in front of 5,500 people in a sold out arena. Right. And at the end, she signed my Converse Princess Leia shoes that I had.
Oh,
And then I went down to give her a hug, and she tackled me, and we rolled around like fake making out while Gary, her dog, licked my forehead.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
And that
Licked
was,
by Gary the dog
Yeah.
has got to go on your resume.
I literally came home with Carrie Fisher's lipstick on my collar
Oh my goodness.
and had to explain to my wife.
Explain that one.
Yeah. So that was my craziest as a fan. But fan interaction, man, I've had just some people that I think I've had some touching stories. So I'll bring the room down. No, I remember like at Star Wars weekends, I had a dad come up to me once, and he said, we just watched your show last night, the Talking to Myself show, the Obi-Wan and Beyond, they called it at Disney. And my son and I, we make this trek out to here every year to Star Wars weekends, and my son is autistic. And we watched the show about you doing all your voices and being a little kid doing voices and all that. And my son was just entranced. And he nudged me at one point and said, Dad, that's what it's like for me.
Oh, wow.
And so he was, choking up, and I'm choking up, and he says, so thank you for letting me envision how my son thinks and works by stepping into your world there.
Oh, that's incredible.
Wow.
So that was like crazy on a really wonderful.
Yeah.
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 Oh my
That's
gosh,
great.
That's so
Yeah.
powerful.
All right. Well, let me entirely ruin this wonderful mood with a dumb question.
I would expect nothing less from you.
Thank you. I love ruining beautiful things. That's just, a hobby of mine. No, I wanted to ask you kind of a classic weird question.
Yeah.
If you could have one Jedi power, what Jedi power would you want to have?
Oh, man. And that includes all the new ones that we've discovered.
Sure, yeah. You can force project, yeah. You can force Skype, as they call it, between Rey and Kylo.
Right.
I do just like the idea of the kind of the lazy thing of really. Can we just bring that over?
You,
here?
you want the remote pull, right?
Yeah.
Pull the remote control to your
Pull
hand.
the remote control. I think. Because it reminds me of like Ray Park, who of course is Darth Maul.
Yeah.
he was so thrilled when he got to do, that one move when they're fighting, when he's fighting Obi-Wan,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and he does the Force thing, and throws the thing and locks the door. Or whatever.
Yeah.
That was the most exciting moment for him as a actor. And I think we're all just kind of nerds like that.
Yeah.
To be able to just like
I love
do a
that.
little hand gesture. I mean, the mind trick is great,
Yeah.
but moving something, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just so visceral. Just like, come here, please. Yeah.
That's a
Thank
great
you.
insight.
That's all I need.
Because I remember that lightsaber fight, and I remember being like, "Wow, what did he do? Like, what did
And
what did
the
Maul
way he
do?"
pointed,
It is
so,
the most, it's like if Bob Fosse had the Force. The way he points at it and then throws it, you know?
and it's a 2-finger point. It's a Disney
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
which
Oh
is
my
great.
gosh.
It's an actual Disney point, I think.
Yes,
Right?
it is a Disney point.
And this will be flying over here now. Yeah.
We need a Darth Maul Fosse musical.
There
Did
you
you
go.
see?
It's
That's
the
the close
theme.
of Ben, right? I mean, I know it's a one-person show, Ben, but maybe a little Fosse Mall at the end.
I'm going to go way back. I don't know if any of you will get any of this Robert Klein reference, but the "I Can't Stop My Legs" song that he used to sing, I could see.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you
I
understand
can't
that?
find
Yeah.
my legs, but
Can't find my legs. I can't stop my
The
leg,
great
yeah.
Maul song.
Yeah.
Well, James, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
You ran down some of the places that people can find you. Do you want to sum up again about social media
Oh,
and
thanks.
any particular things you want to promote?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter all the time. That is me. I'm on Instagram a lot, but I guess you can interact, but it's all at JAT Actor because I have the longest name in show business. And then you can go to jamesarnoldtaylor.com. But my YouTube channel also, I really ask that people would subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I would ask that they subscribe to this channel. And I'm going to then do something on my channel to get people to come and subscribe to this channel.
Thank
we
you.
love that.
We are
So, yeah.
honored. That's great.
We love that. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ken, where can
What a
people find you in your adventures?
Hey, you can find me at Napzok. I have my YouTube channel. If you want bad motivations, come to me. You want good motivations, you go to James.
And then we need to do a team
And we'll
up.
do a team up. I'll get you in a bathrobe.
Okay.
No whiskey. You can have peach juice, but we'll do it.
Jennifer, where can people find you and your motivations, right?
Yes, my motivations are, I guess, on YouTube as well, at Jennifer Landa, and Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the social media sites at Jennifer Landa.
And I am at Joseph Scrimshaw on Twitter and Instagram and all the social media, all my various comedy adventures. If you want to find motivation in them, do so at your own peril, I guess. That is all on my website at josephscrimshaw.com. That's comedy albums, that's live comedy shows, that's other podcasts. You can follow all of our Force Center business on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of that stuff. And like James Taylor just said, James Arnold Taylor, the longest name in show business, is JAT Actor, just said, please do subscribe to us right here. Thank you very much. This has been Force Center Meets.